family church, Carla here, just joining you wherever you're at and whatever you're doing for a few minutes today to hopefully provoke a bit of thought and inspire you just a little bit. I want to share with you something that happened to me just the other day. I'd been at the post office and was walking home, and as I was walking down the street, it was a typical Portsmouth street with houses lining both sides, cars parked all over the place. I came across a tomato plant growing up a lamppost, and it just provoked some thought in me that just inspired me, made me think for a few days. I even went back the next day to look at it again, and I want to share some of those things with you. It made me think of the verses in John 15 that talk about the Father being a gardener. And it says he is the gardener, the Father is the gardener, and he knows in our lives when things need to be cut off or to cut back, and that actually his plan and purpose for us as his children is that we would remain connected to him, that we would allow him and trust him in the cutting off, in the pruning back at different times in our lives, and that the fruit from our lives would glorify him. Now, as a church, this has been a key verse for years and years now for us, and will always be a big part of who we are and what we're about. And it just reminded me, seeing this tomato plant there with hardly any soil in really unusual circumstances, but still growing and producing fruit. And it made me think of a few of these things, so hopefully they'll inspire your heart. Firstly, the Father is the gardener. He knows what's best for his plants. Sometimes we think we know what's best and what areas of our life need to grow or need to do certain things or how they should look. But actually the best thing we can do is to plant our lives and put our lives in God's hands, to stay connected to him and to trust him to cut back, to prune our lives when he sees fit. At the beginning of this year, I encourage you to put your life in his hands once again, to have that time of review and say to God, you know, where things are not right and not pleasing to you, or where things have just got a bit dry or stale, would you cut off, would you prune back so that I can live in the way that you would have me live, so that I can glorify you. He knows what's best for us, and he knows when things need cutting off and cutting back. And sometimes we might not understand it, sometimes we might not appreciate what each season means, but in every season, God is at work. I love that Stuart was talking about God working behind the scenes of our lives. And those verses bring so much courage to me, knowing that in every single season, in every single experience, as my life is committed to him, he is at work. As I love him, he is at work, and he's bringing about good through every situation. Good, bad, ugly, the lot. As I submit it to him, he can bring about something of value. And that's the same in your life too. God wants us to bear fruit in our lives. That's his plan. And that fruit should glorify him. But you need to know that God wants you to be fruit bearing, and whatever that might mean. But in order to bear good fruit, we need to remain in him, to attach ourselves fully to him, to be awake, like Pastor Andy was talking about on Sunday, to be awake and alert and connected to our God, and to stay that way so that we might go through all those seasons and come to that place of fruition, to stay attached, to stay focused. God is able to make things grow in even the strangest of circumstances. I just love that. As we stay connected, as we stay attached, as we focus on him, he takes care of things. But this is a great time to bring this back to our memory. That God, I'm going to spend 2021 in your presence, connected to you, attached to you. I'm going to trust you with the cutting off. I'm going to trust you with the pruning back in my life. I'm going to trust you with the fruit. I know as I look back on my journals, I see times where God has brought about fruit in the most unexpected ways and circumstances, and it is beautiful. And I know he has that planned for you too. That tomato plant on that day reminded me that there are no impossible growing conditions in God. That just as that seemed really out of place and unable to bear fruit, yet it was, our lives can be like that. fruit bearing in every season. And I believe as we set this time right now in January, as we look at the year ahead, committed to staying focused on God, staying connected to God, allowing him to do the cutting back, we will see great fruit in the latter part of our year. Let's get ready for that, church. Be encouraged, keep focused, keep pressing in, and I know God's going to come through for you and for me as we trust him. Be blessed.